So we're going to have a look at the Artistic Wire Company, and we're looking at their Findings Forms wire jigs. These are to make up your ear hooks in the various different shapes, which can really contribute to your designs. I'm going to start with the process of how you actually use the jig to create the forms there. In the kit that you get, you will receive an illustrated guide as well. So I'm using a fine gauge wire. It recommends a 0.8, so you've got the non-movement within your ear wire. And you're basically going to take your jig and you want to position, so this is for the rectangular shaped ear hook. So you're going to go through the small hole, and that's going to go all the way through and come out the back. You want to then bend that over at a 90-degree angle, and about enough so that you've got a good grip with your finger. You then move that back to the front, and you're going to take the wire and you're going to come around the jig, so around the metal post that's coming out. I'm just going to swap my hands around, and I'm going to bring that all the way around and up across the top of the jig alongside the rectangle shape here. We're then going to come across the top and then straight down. I'm just going to hold that with my thumb in position. You'll also get the metal rod that comes with it, and if you have one, just a small hammer, and you're going to push firmly onto the pin so that you've got the position of your wire, and you just may want to hammer that gently to put it in position. So we'll take that away. To release it from the jig, you're just going to turn it round again, and you're just going to lift up the wire, and that will just drop out, and you'll see your rectangular ear wire is now almost there. Obviously we can cut this length, so you're going to go a little bit longer than the loop, so we're just going to come down about a centimetre lower, and then we also want to take this excess wire that was positioning it on the jig. So I'm just going to use the cutters to get nice and tight into that loop and trim away any excess wire. You can run your nylon coated pliers over this as well if you want to secure the shape, or you've got any kinks within the wire. So then we move on to this ear hook, which is the rounded one. So we're going to do the same with the jig. So you're going to go through the hole to start, bend at a right degree angle. We're going to go around the first pin on this one, just swapping my hands over so I can really keep the tension on the wire. You're going to come up in front of the second pin, and then back across, and then all the way around the circle on the jig, and then we're going to come down, and there's a small triangle shape here, and you're going to pull against that and up ever so slightly on the opposite side. Whoopsie, jumped out then. Then going to use the rod again to push down on the pin to position it. Come round to the back of the jig, lift up to release it down. Again, we're going to cut away the excess wires. So you're going to take this section here, and on the loop section as well. And that's going to give you the ear hook shape that you require for that one. And then we're on to this shape that we have. Okay. So we're going to go through the loop and bend to position it. And then we're going to come across the triangle and the pin and then wrap that all the way around the loop, and you're going to come back in front of the pin on this side, so we're going between that gap, and this is where we create our earring loop. Just make sure you keep that pushed downwards, and then you're going to use your rod to position that. Flip that over, lift up the wire and release it from the jig. And we're going to take away that excess. I've created a small bend with that one, so I'm just going to run my nylon coated wires over it, and that way it'll straighten out the wire. Okay. For this one we go through the small hole, bend that round, we loop around, and you're going to come back up and go across the top oval shape. And then in a figure of 8 across the front and up across the bottom oval. I'm going to flip that round to release it from the jig. And then we're going to cut away our excess wire. In order to create the wave shape there. And then we've got our square. So we're going to go through, bend over at the back. You're going to come across and round the pin, up and around the square with the wire. And down. And then back down across where the pin was at the front. So a rod to position that. And then we're going to release it from the jig. Using the cutters, take away the excess. And on this section, you're just going to go halfway across the square. So you've got your diamond shape with that one.